Murie Zimbabwe, the Zimbabwean family, what is up? Zufamba say, welcome back to the channel, the place where we keep it real, we keep it loud, and we keep it pro-democracy. If you are new here, welcome home. Hit that subscribe button, follow us, because you found the right channel at exactly the right time. And if you are a returning family member, buckle up because today's story is not politics. Today's story is a telenovela, and Zimbabwe is the state. Zimbabwe. So, Chichiruitika, you genuinely cannot make this up. I have been doing this for a while. I have covered ZANU-PF drama. I have covered reshuffles. I have covered my elections. I have covered all kinds of things. But today, Zimbabwe, we have boxes of t-shirts intercepted in Johannesburg. My t-shirt ordered by senior ZANU-PF officials, printed in South Africa, destined for Zimbabwe. And they say, are you ready for this? They say, Chiwenga must go. The vice president, the man who literally commanded the tanks that removed Mugabe in 2017, the man who is number 2 in this government, Zimbabwe, and his own colleagues, his own party, are printing t-shirts in another country to bring him down. If this is not the biggest political scandal of 2026 in Zimbabwe, then I do not know what is. Grab a popcorn, family. This one is going to be long. It is going to be juicy, and it is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about what is happening at the State House right now. So let's start with what we know. What was intercepted, the receipts, and as they say, a whole operation was busted in Johannesburg South. We are talking massive boxes, not a few t-shirts, not a small order, massive boxes of campaign regalia, and printed across those t-shirts, bold as you like, Chiwenga must go. This was not some random vendor trying to make money off political drama. This was an organized, funded, deliberate operation, and the names being connected to this, the people who allegedly ordered this whole thing, are big names from Harare. We are talking about Goodwills Masimiremga, Zimbabwe, the Harare provincial chairman, who has been one of the loudest faces of the 2030 Mnangagwa Anengachitonga agenda. And the idea that ED should stay in power until 2030 and beyond. Now, think about what the plan was. You do not print t-shirts in South Africa by accident. You do not ship boxes of regalia across borders for fun. The plan, according to what has come out, was to mobilize people in the provinces, pay them, yes, pay them, to hit the streets and make it look like popular protest. A spontaneous uprising of ordinary Zimbabweans saying, we do not want Chiwenga, so that Mnangagwa then has a reason, a manufactured, fake, bought and paid for reason to fire the general before the military establishment can even react. That is not politics, Zimbabwe. That is a script, a movie script, and they thought nobody would notice. The boxes would just arrive, the t-shirts would just be distributed, the protests would just show up, and the world would believe it was organic. But the boxes got intercepted, the receipts came out, and now we are all here talking about it. Family, when thieves fall out, the truth comes out. And right now, the truth is spilling everywhere. So the background, about the background, Yamasimirembwa, who is he? And why does he matter? Why would he matter? Now, for those who do not follow ZANU-PF internal politics closely, and honestly, it is a full-time job. Let me give you the context on Goodwill's Masimirembwa, because this man has been at the center of everything. Chiwenga himself delivered a stinging rebuke to the ZANU-PF Harare provincial executive, led by Masimirembwa, over a series of transgressions that were allegedly fueling factionalism within the ruling party. This was at a high-level meeting at ZANU-PF headquarters, and it was not a gentle conversation. In a tense 5-hour-long meeting, Masimirembwa was left speechless and profusely apologizing for what had been going on under his watch. What had been going on? Where do we start? Masimirembwa was singled out for turning party offices into informal tuck shops and allegedly collecting rent for personal benefit. So the man running Harare province for ZANU-PF was allegedly subletting party offices. your party's offices and pocketing the money. But that is almost the small story. The bigger story is Kudakwashe Tagwire. For those who do not know, Tagwire is a businessman whose interests span fuel, mining, and infrastructure. He has been accused repeatedly of benefiting from murky government contracts and his growing involvement in party structures, including failed attempt to induct him into the Central Committee, but then later on, akazopinda. But it raised the alarm among reformist elements in ZANU-PF who fear the party is being hijacked by wealth and patronage networks. And who was pushing for Tagwire to get into the Central Committee? Masimi Rembra and his crew. The donation of 18 vehicles reportedly from Tagwire to the Harare executive was followed almost immediately by an attempt to co-opt Tagwire into the party Central Committee. A move seen by critics as a political trade-off designed to secure his loyalty and consolidate President Mnangagwa's grip on party structures. In simple language, cars were given, favors were expected. Welcome to Zimbabwe's political economy. Chiwenga ordered that the cars be surrendered to party headquarters. However, resistance quickly surfaced, with provincial political commissar Voyage Dambuza and others reportedly dismissing the directive as baseless threats in internal WhatsApp groups. WhatsApp group. These grown men running a whole province are in WhatsApp groups calling the vice president's orders baseless threats. And now, the same province is behind a t-shirt operation in Johannesburg. Murie Zimbabwe. You really cannot make this up. It's hard to make this up. So, why Chiwenga and why now, Murie Zimbabwe? Now, let us get to the real question. Why is Chiwenga the target? Why is the 23rd crew so desperate to get rid of him specifically right now at this exact moment? There are two reasons, and both of them connect directly to Bill number 3 and the future of Zimbabwe's democracy. The reason, Chiwenga is the biggest obstacle to the 23rd agenda. A faction led by Chiwenga has been pushing back against the bid to extend Mnangagwa's term, arguing that the former army general must take over the reins when Mnangagwa leaves office. When his constitutionally permissible presidential term ends. Chiwenga wants elections. Chiwenga wants the constitution respected. Because, surprise, surprise, if the constitution is respected and Mnangagwa leaves in 2028, then Chiwenga is next in line. He was the one who made Mnangagwa president. He led the coup. He expected his return. Bill number 3 introduces sweeping changes that would fundamentally redraw Zimbabwe's political architecture in ways that benefit Mnangagwa and neutralize potential rivals, including Chiwenga himself. One of the most dramatic provisions abolishes the direct election of the president by popular vote. The president would instead be elected by members of parliament sitting in a joint session. So, analysts the reason why Mnangagwa ane maguts ekuti surely he would try to take this thing away from Chiwenga is because anoziva kuti Chiwenga is not innocent at all. And it's some analysts are telling no. The reason why Mnangagwa achizowana ushingi hwekudaro anenge achiziva kuti tagara muna 2028 macho mata achisvika muna 2028. What was the plan? The plan yanga iri kuti todi toba mavotes and then takuzopa president Chiwenga. So sezvo takangoita muna 2018 sezvo tangoita muna 2023. I mean, ma-analyst anenge achianalyze nyaya. So in that way, Mnangagwa anenge achiziva kuti iwewe Chiwenga unozviziva iwewe kuti isu seZANU-PF tigere pano patigere takatopagara panapa zvechitororo. Saka manje what's the difference? Intongokuitirawo chitororo ndokutorera chigaro ichi. Animaiza, but talks, there is no real evidence in that. So, do you understand, Murie Zimbabwe? If you remove direct presidential elections, if the people no longer vote directly for their president, then whoever controls parliament controls who becomes president. And whoever controls the economy and the tenders and the party structures controls parliament. So it becomes a closed loop. The people, you, Isus, are completely removed from the equation. Your vote becomes irrelevant. Your voice becomes noise. This is why Chiwenga is calling for a referendum. Because he knows And we know that if you ask the ordinary people of Zimbabwe whether they want to cancel their own vote, the answer will be a thundering no. Reason. Reason two, Zimbabwe, my resources, mines, land, the real money. The second reason they want Chiwenga gone is about what he has been saying about Zimbabwe's natural resources. He has been asking uncomfortable questions about where the money from our diamonds, our platinum, our lithium, one of the largest lithium deposits on the planet, is actually going and who is benefiting. When a vice president starts asking those questions loudly, he becomes a threat to the people whose pockets depend on the current arrangement staying exactly as it is. Vanoda kungoramba vachiva ivo vanogovera mota mune Zimbabwe. Vanoda kungoramba vachingova ivo vagere pamusoro paya. So then, the plan is simple. Manufacture a crisis, print t-shirts, pay protesters, create the optics of a popular uprising against Chiwenga, and give Mnangagwa the cover to fire him. Then bill number 3 passes with no internal opposition. Then 2030 becomes 2033, and the loop closes forever. That is the game being played with your country, on your time, on our time. Mazuva ekurarama kwedu mune Zimbabwe ndo zviri kuda kuitwa izvi. So tinoda kumbotaura the firing back iri kuitwa naChiwenga right now. Pane the church sermon yatiri kuziva izvozvo. Now here is where the story gets almost poetic, because Chiwenga, the former military general, the man who knows how coups work because he planned one, did not respond with a press conference. He did not call a journalist. He went to church at a Roman Catholic church event in Mrewa. Under the blistering April sun, Chiwenga delivered what appeared on the surface to be a spiritual address, but his choice of scripture carried unmistakable resonance. He talked about Saint Francis of Assisi and humility. He talked about leaders embracing simplicity. And then, and this is the moment, family, he turned to the book of Isaiah and the story of King Hezekiah. When God asks you to do something, never question why. Chiwenga said, and then, he never managed even 3 months of the extended period. He spent the extended 15 years down in jail. God did not take away the 15 years. He let him have them, but he was in jail. It is a direct threat. A man who tried to extend his reign ended up spending every extra year in jail, said by the vice president at a church, while his boss is trying to extend his term through a constitutional amendment. That is not a sermon, family. That is a warning delivered in the house of God with full deniability. Chiwenga has been around long enough to know exactly what he is doing. The man did not survive the Mugabe era and plan a coup by being careless with his words. The bigger picture, what this means for democracy. Let us zoom out for a second, because beyond the drama, beyond the t-shirts and the WhatsApp groups and the church parables, there is a very serious democratic question sitting in the middle of all of this. Zimbabwe is a country where students are being abducted for attending public hearings, where activists are being beaten for distributing my flyers, where war veterans who shed blood for this country are submitting petitions to parliament and being ignored. And now we have evidence that senior party officials are funding fake protest operations, manufacturing public opinion, using printed cloth and paid bodies. This is what the erosion of democracy looks like in practice. It does not always come with tanks and guns. Sometimes it comes with boxes of t-shirts and WhatsApp voice notes and tenders and vehicles donated to provincial executives. It comes slowly, quietly, and by the time most people notice, the door is already locked. At a hero's burial, factionalism played out openly. One section of supporters with placards reading ED 2030, Munenge Muchipo Shumba, sat silent and seated when Chiwenga arrived, while another section broke into song and dance. At a funeral for national heroes, the men and women who died for this country's freedom are being buried while their party fights over who gets to stay in power longest. If that does not break your heart, I do not know what will. Okay, mune Zimbabwe. Tichivhara regai titi here is where I learned. Here is my 2 cents, and today it might be worth more than the zig. Is this a democracy or a t-shirt circus? Because from where I am standing, we have a ruling party that is printing fake protest merchandise in another country to remove their own vice president, passing constitutional amendments to cancel your vote, abducting students for speaking at public hearings, and reshuffling permanent secretaries on Workers' Day. And they want you to believe this is about efficiency, about development, about building a better Zimbabwe. The t-shirts got intercepted, family. The receipts are out. And once receipts are out, you cannot unsee them. You cannot unread them. The question now is, what do we do with that information? Can Mnangagwa survive this exposure? He has finally played his last card. Or does the 2030 machine have enough money, enough loyalty, and enough t-shirt printers to keep going? I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is this the beginning of the end for the 2030 agenda? Or are we watching a man consolidate power so tightly that even his own vice president cannot stop him? Keep it safe, family, but keep it real, because Zimbabwe deserves better than this. Zimbabwe is not for sale. And as long as we keep talking, keep sharing, keep asking questions, they cannot silence us all. Hit that subscribe button, share this video, not for me, for Zimbabwe, for the students in detention, for the activists in hiding, for every ordinary person just trying to afford bread while the big men fight over the throne. This is your boy. Stay loud, stay free, stay pro-democracy. I will see you in the next one. Peace.